It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. What, is it too early for Christmas music? Okay, so first up, I went to Barnes & Noble recently and got some books. And also, if you can't tell already, this magnificent looking book came in finally from Waterstones. It took a while. It took a couple weeks. But let's start with, this is going to, of course, be a blend of sci-fi and fantasy. And some of these I don't know too much about. Now, some of these I don't know too much about. Shocker, right? And some of these I've seen so many times in the store that I finally decided to pick them up because they look and sound interesting. So, We Ride the Storm. Yeah, I kind of bought this because I thought the cover looked cool. I like the sort of black and white tone with the red sky. It looks super cool. So Devin Madsen, this is a fantasy book. It's got a lot of comparisons to a lot of different grimdark novels, Peter McLean and his Prince of Bones. Is that what it's called? Prince of Bones? Am I making series up now? Lord of Bones? Priest of Bones. There it is. But yeah, it sounds like there's going to be a lot of combat, a lot of political intrigue, a lot of apparently good, strong world building. And of course, this line sells it all. As an empire falls, 3 warriors will rise. They will have to ride the storm or drown in its blood. Sweet. If you've read any of this series, please let me know. Is it any good or not? Because I tend to not try to, look up things on Goodreads when I go to buy them because I want to be surprised a little bit. So next up is A Hero Born. So this one by Jin Yong, I want to say might be the book that I heard about last year or so that has like a bad translation. Now, I don't know if that's just like the book makes no sense or if there's certain names or words that don't translate correctly. Who knows? I know it's sold a ton of copies. It says right there, 300 million sold worldwide. So it's an incredibly popular book. It definitely sounds like a hero's journey, coming of age kind of thing. Now, what had my interest though is, of course, just the cover design, the fact that it's apparently well known worldwide, and I didn't really know too much about it. It's Chinese based, which is cool because you don't see a lot of that. Probably the only Chinese based fantasy that I've read is the Poppy War, and this has another spin on a magic system where you have Kung Fu as the basis of the magic system. So that's pretty cool that it's going to revolve around martial arts. It's going to be pretty cool. Also, if I'm reading the back of the book correctly, the main character goes under the tutelage of Genghis Khan. That's going to be pretty badass. Next up, and again, this is another one that it just looks and sounds incredibly awesome and sort of off the wall and something that I've never read before. It's by Brahm, and that's going to be Lost Gods. Now, I don't know anything about these books, but when I started to read what it was about, I mean, just the blend of like classical mythology, they mentioned Lovecrafty and horror, Dante, like all of these. So you're blending a lot of myths and legends with Lovecraft, which is already kind of out there, horror, haunting tales. It's all revolving around literally saving the souls of this man's wife and child. It sounds like it's going to be, I don't know what to expect. Like what kind of prose this is going to be written in, what kind of story this even is. It's super interesting to me. And I guess this guy also wrote Krampus, which if you know anything about Krampus, the twisted horror Christmas tale, that's a really great movie. I've never read the book, obviously, but man, this just really caught my eye. I mean, the artistry about it. I don't even know if this has anything to do with the book, to be honest. And it just sounds totally different than anything that I've read. I mean, in one of the paragraphs on the back, in Lost Gods, Brahms' gritty and visceral prose takes us on a haunting, harrowing journey into the depths of the underworld, thrust into a realm of madness and chaos where ancient gods and demons battle over the dead, and where cabals of souls conspire to overthrow their masters. Chet plays a dangerous game, risking eternal damnation to save his family. So, I mean, it does sound like it parallels a lot to Dante's Inferno, diving into hell to save his wife. There's a lot of really creepy, like, artwork and stuff, hopefully that focuses in this book. It's just really, really cool. And I just have no idea what to expect, so I'm excited. Next up, stepping into some sci-fi, we have Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash. Now, everything that I know about this, it's cyberpunk in nature. It kind of sounds like Ready Player One in a way. I'm sure this came well before Ready Player One. I have to assume this came before Ready Player One, but just the sort of like virtual reality nature of this, because you're following hero protagonist. That's great. Delivers pizza, but in the metaverse, he's a warrior prince, plunging headlong into the enigma of a new computer virus that's striking down hackers everywhere. He races along the neon-lit streets on a search and destroy mission for a shadowy virtual villain threatening to bring about infocalypse. What in the world is happening? Snow Crash is a mind-altering romp through a future America so bizarre, so outrageous, you'll recognize it immediately. So I love the approach to that storytelling. It almost sounds like it's going to be a little bit wacky and zany in a way. Two words that I'd never, ever use in life. But it sounds totally sort of off the wall, super imaginative. And just let me know in the comments down below. If you read Snow Crash, what do you think about it? Because this definitely sounds like it could either be a book that I absolutely hate and I'm just like, oh, this book is stupid, or it's going to be fantastic, which I'm leaning towards probably enjoying it, but we'll find out. Next up, I picked up The Ninth Metal by Benjamin Percy. Now again, not really sure what to expect here, but it sounds like the first of many in a series of almost thriller sci-fi. It is kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this. It's multi-POV, it's post-apocalyptic. You've got John Frontier, the troubled scion of an iron ore dynasty in Northfall, returning home, and he finds political turmoil, fighting over resources, things like that, basically like mining operations. Then you have physicist Victoria Lennon, who is who's recruited by the DoD to look into this omni-metal, and she's trapped in what is called a laboratory of nightmares. So who the heck knows what that's even alluding to? And then you have a rookie cop investigating a murder, gets caught up in what sounds like wrong place, wrong time kind of thing. This is the first of the Comet cycle. I don't know how many of these are out right now. Maybe this is just the first one and the other ones are along the way. I don't know. But this is an author that I don't know really anything about. Had never heard of him until I saw this, but the synopsis of the book sounds really interesting. Of course, it's a gorgeous looking book. I love all the colors. The comet kind of falling through the text is super clever. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's, Ben Percy lays bare how a modern-day gold rush has turned the middle of nowhere into the center of everything, and how one family, the Frontiers, hope to control it all. So, future sci-fi battle over resources, kind of giving me a little bit of Dune vibes in that sense, but I highly doubt the rest of it is anything like that. Next up, and this sounds like it's going to be totally out of not fully my comfort zone, but a fantasy book that I would not typically pick up. And I know it's very widely popular, but no idea if I'll enjoy it, is the Baron the Nightingale. So basically all I understand about this is it's historical fantasy set in Moscow. You have a girl that sounds like lives in a very cold, snowy area. It's set in medieval Russia and I guess incorporates a lot of Russian folklore, which I will have to lean on my Russian experts, that just means you, Nick, in Discord, to see if this folklore is actually sort of, accurate to, I guess, Russian folklore, because I know nothing about it. And it's during a time where Orthodox Christianity is sort of trying to shut down a lot of these folk tales from being talked about. And I guess the main character is able to communicate with mythological creatures, and that's a big no-no in the eyes of the church. So not really exactly sure what to expect here other than Vasya, but Vasya is obviously going to have to use her powers in some way, shape, or form to do something and, come out of hiding because, it sounds like she's got to hide this from everybody because it's a big no-no. So, don't know what to expect. It's pretty short. Hopefully it's interesting. Sounds like it's going to be sort of a, grim, sort of dark twist on a fairy tale in a way. So I'm definitely looking forward. Oh, I almost dropped the book. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Sounds pretty cool. And last but not least, a book that requires no introduction, but I've fallen in total love with. Not so much the sequels yet, but I bought another copy of Dune because I'm a freak. So this is the Waterstones edition. I think there is already a Waterstones edition that existed before this hardcover, but of course this special version with a foreword by Hari Kanzuru. Hopefully I said that correctly. I haven't read the foreword yet. I'm going to check that out soon. I love when these books get different forewords written for them. But of course you've got the gorgeous eye-popping gold and purple. You got the nice Dune setting there. Of course, Fear is the Mind Killer, the whole quote on the back. And then you get a nice little bookmark built in, nice sprayed edges. And when you take off the dust jacket, you get a couple nice pieces of art. Sit down. So first of all, again, you get the entire I must not fear, fear is the mind killer, text here, which is pretty cool. I haven't seen a spine look like that before. And then of course you get, I believe it's 2 different worm arts. You've got some Thopters up top here, and then, the giant sandworm. I don't believe there's any artwork throughout the book, but you get another awesome piece of art here of another sandworm. What I like about this, though, is if you compare this to some of the other ones, like the Barnes & Noble Gold hardcover edition that I have, this feels a little bit higher quality in the sense that like the pages feel a little bit thicker. They've got some more substance to them. Because the other one is, significantly skinnier, so it's almost like they have razor-thin pages in them. But I love Dune, obviously. It continues to be my favorite sci-fi novel that I've read. And I'm going to check out this this foreword in here as well. But yeah, I love gorgeous editions of books that I love. So that be the book haul. As with most things, I like to, when I go to the store, unless I'm reading a particular series at the time and I go specifically for a certain, book in the series, which normally I would just do online because it's easier, I like to pick out things that I haven't read before. So that's why you get a lot of these instances of me saying, I don't know what this is about, because that's the kind of person and shopper that I am for books, is I know if I am reading a series and I already like it, I will just pick up the books and I know exactly what to expect. So I like to get out in the wild and find some books that I don't know a lot about. And hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised when I read them. But here's the books.